It's the show that's pretty much done with Dusty's ego. Too much, though. Getting a big head.
Dusty's been the interim head coach for a couple weeks now.
I know, he's running a tight ship.
He's wondering, did Kevin Hart challenge you to a race yet?
Yeah, he is.
So that's not going to hit Kevin Hart's radar.
I can let him know. Yeah, Brew could let him know.
Yeah. He's seen it. He's probably seen it.
I don't think he has. For the record, Brew, the odds jumped from plus 1,300 to plus 450 for the Wolves to win. Do you regret abandoning your Wolves?
Abandoned?
Yeah.
Or motivated?
Bro.
Abandoned or motivated? Y'all ought to be young and simple-minded like y'all.
That's a fair point.
Y'all out here playing checkers.
That's right.
And I'm playing chess.
He did it again.
Who better? Who better to motivate Brew's T-Wolves than Brew himself?
I mean, that makes sense.
Than the man who went on national television when there were hardly any believers outside of Minnesota and said they are going to take down the defending champions in 7 games.
Yeah.
The man who, when they were down 3-2, stood 10 toes down.
That's a great
the
point.
man who, when they were down 20 on the road in Game 7, still believed.
That one we're taking
I'm just not on social media tweeting during the games, but I still believed.
I take you at your word.
Yeah.
So you guys know, I'm an actor. I've been in movies, literally. I got an IMDb page.
Yeah.
Google me. All right?
will.
I had to use my acting skills to wake up the Timberwolves, in particular, Karl Anthony Towns, and boy, did it work. Karl Anthony Towns shooting 27% in the first 3 games, 13% from 3 last night. 9 for 13 from the floor. 4 for 5 from 3. 25 points. And Nick, when he scores 18 or more, they are 7-1 in these playoffs. When he doesn't score 18, 2-5.
Yeah.
So I had to wake him up.
You had
And
me
boy,
fooled.
did I wake him up.
So to be clear, but right now you're not acting, you're being totally sincere. Right now, this moment.
Wouldn't you like to know? Is the series over?
I think the audience would like to know.
I got to keep it going.
I think the audience would like to know.
I will pick. I picked the T-Wolves last night to show I have faith. I will pick them in Game 5.
Right now,
Game 6 is the key one.
Right now, who do you have winning the series?
I gotta see how this thing is going.
Okay,
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. It's still motivation
this is
to be
why,
held out
and I'll give some cogent analysis in a moment, since evidently that'll be my job today. This is wild.
Baby.
This was when we were in this spot during Lakers Nuggets. This was the infamous show when you got so mad at me when you looked at the camera and you said on national television that, quote, Nick, you're not being fair to me.
That's true.
When the Lakers were down 3-0 and I refused to, I was just kind of bobbing and weaving about what I thought about the series versus could they win Game 4.
Yeah.
And it was so I could avoid this spectacle that Brew now has put himself through, which was abandoning his team because they're dead. And then they win a single solitary game and acting like you truly believe again when you don't.
Really?
You clearly and obviously don't.
I picked them last night.
Brew.
Picking them for Game 5.
I'm picking them for Game 5.
You looked into the camera.
Series 3-2.
And begrudgingly said it's over. Because you knew it was over and I know it's over and Wildes knows it's over. It's why yesterday's show we were discussing the NBA Finals between the Mavs and the Celtics. Now, on the analysis point, I know we'll get to Anthony Edwards. I actually disagree with you and seemingly the entire media about Karl Anthony Towns last night.
He wasn't good?
I did not think he played very well. I thought Karl Anthony Towns hit a couple big threes. I thought his fouls were egregious.
Well, that's just
but it's
baked in.
His fouls were egregious. Right, and I thought his turnovers were bad. I thought it's one thing if you're a big man and you commit fouls, defending the paint or doing his 4 of his fouls were so wildly unnecessary and didn't impact the game positively, like attempting to block a shot or something like that. The one out at half court, the 3rd foul, the 5th foul, which was the intentional foul, the 6th foul was the intentional foul. The charge, they're bad fouls.
Yep.
And so when you look, he had 5 turnovers, he had 6 fouls, he played less than 30 minutes, and the reason the stat line looks decent is because he was hot from 3, and he hit 4 threes.
Well, he was 9 for 13 overall.
Right, but he was 4 of 4 or 4 or 5 from 3. So, on mid-range, or not mid-range, but exactly. He was fine inside the paint. I didn't think this was about Karl-Anthony Towns. I thought he hit those 2 big threes in the 4th quarter, and I give him credit for that, but I didn't think he played an overall excellent game. I thought Anthony Edwards did. I thought Anthony Edwards played. He had 6 turnovers, too. But he also is a guy with the ball in his hands a lot more. Those turnovers are more, to me, acceptable than a big man turnover, unless the big man's Jokic. I thought after, again, this whole narrative of he's just got to be exhausted. I think Anthony Edwards has plenty of energy. I don't think he was playing very well. He could have just packed up shop, and instead, he had one of his better all-around games of the playoffs and added guarding Luka more than he had in the first part of the series. So I thought that was the story, and I thought that his jump shot that we showed that almost iced the game, should have iced the game, but then they foul him, Luka on a 4-point play. No, that's true. But I thought that because it felt like, man, are the Mavs going to somehow steal another one that they had no business winning?
All the games.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what I was talking. T-Wolves in the 4th quarter of this series, Brew, and you talked about this before you had that whole subterfuge. You're like, they've been.
Oh, how dare you?
What? This is one of your favorite stats.
And you think it's nonsense. You yelled at us. You yelled at Brew and I for doing this minutes of time leading.
I'm just putting it up.
You hated this stat 2 weeks ago.
On it. I'm like, look at this. It's noteworthy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That they've been in every game.
That's what I thought.
And according to Josh, the average margin of victory in this series, 4.5. By that measure, top 5 for closest best of 7 series since the merger. So this is one of the closest series of all time. So if it was 0-3 was ever going to happen.
No,
it's an evenly matched series. Here's the thing, Nick.
If 0-3 were ever going to happen, just real quick, it wouldn't happen when it's 2 evenly matched teams. It would happen when it's hugely lopsided, but that's
why we thought it wasn't hugely lopsided, but that's why it looked like Boston might do it last year against Miami because they were clearly the better team. But Nick, this is why I disagree with you about Towns. These teams are very closely matched, and the difference has been Kyrie and Luka have been better down the stretch than Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. We knew it was coming down to the wire. If Towns doesn't hit those key threes, then they lose the game, most likely. And so it's little things like that are making the difference in this series.
No, that part I agree with, but I guess my overall feeling of the Towns discussion today and last night has been we have rapidly lowered this player's expectations.
What?
He is the number.
Do you think?
He's the number 1 overall pick.
But nobody thinks of him like that anymore.
Well, hold on. He's the self-proclaimed best shooting big man of all time. He's a guy who last night was the 3rd 25-point playoff game this year. He's yet to hit 30 in a game. He is the only guy in the series that's an all-star that is supposed to be smack dab in the middle of his prime. Luka's entering it. Kyrie's on the backside of it.
Luka's in his prime.
Okay, well then it's just now. Age-wise, usually, I guess my point is this. He's the age of typically guys are right in the middle of their prime. And what I feel like the conversation has been in a game that he could not stay on the court because of foul trouble and turn the ball over regularly, we're like, man, you weren't brutal in this game, and you did hit a couple big shots.
Jeez. But he drove to the basket
and got offensive fouls.
Yeah, but still the aggressiveness, and he did make some shots in the paint too. That was huge for him. And I do think that obviously number 1 pick 5 years ago, people were thinking is he in the Anthony Davis range. But for the last few seasons, his stock has dropped. And that's why I don't think now people are expecting that much from him, and obviously he brought it last night.
Do you agree Ant was their best player last night?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just saying Cat did step up.
And they don't
play
win
well.
without him.
But it's important for him. Here's his stats. It's important for Cat to bust out of this slump.
Yeah, he's
it's
got
not
to shoot
oh my
well.
God,
He's
he
gotta
played
hit
great.
Right, so he doesn't go into the offseason in a slump. Guys, they're not coming back from 3-0 Wildes. Here's the problem with doing TV with you. I seem to remember the things you said better than you do.
Why, what?
When I posited the infinitesimal possibility that if anyone was going to do it, it would be LeBron James, you got your veins started popping and you said 0-154.
Here's why.
And now it's 0-155.
Because the Lakers had won one game out of the last 12 against Denver.
Good point.
It was a series of losses.
So you think
they
the
took their foot
Timberwolves
off
are in
the
it?
Well, they've
I
got
wanna know.
home court advantage, and Ant did the same thing he did to Denver. He's like, Michael Parsons, I'm bring your shoes, so I'll see you
They
back
don't
here.
have home court advantage.
How many games are there left?
Yeah,
but if you're
in the
down
remaining,
3-1,
right.
you no longer have home court.
But I thought if you're on a roulette wheel spinning, like, well, it just hit black, it's going to hit black. In the next 3 games, 2 of them are at home.
Right, but they have to win them all, Wildes.
Okay.
The
Where's
whole
the next-
idea of
They're
home court
facing it
advantage.
uphill
There's
climb.
3 games left, and 2 of them are at home.
Right.
They have home court advantage.
No, that's okay. That's
Well, I mean, why? Tell me, why is that
because
wrong?
I'll just explain very quickly.
Sure.
Because the idea of home court advantage
Yeah.
is if you win all your home games, you win the series.
Yeah.
If the Timberwolves win all
That's
their
not,
home games,
no, it's not I'll win all the home games to win the series.
Yes,
it's
that
just
is.
who has the
That's-
advantage.
No, you're wrong.
I've got
You're
3.
wrong. We have to move on. You're wrong.
I'm totally
They
not.
don't
Okay.
have home court.
Okay,
At
just for the
this
record.
point, they really don't.
Okay, listen.
So let me
If
ask
there
you
was
this.
3 hats, okay, if there's 3 hats here, 2 of them were blue and 1 of them was Mavs silver.
Yes.
Who would have the home field advantage?
Well,
the
it
blue
depends.
hats, because
If
there's
it was-
2 and
if
there's
it
1.
was, you had to pick 2 out of 3. You had to get them all right. That
Oh,
would be
it's the
difference.
Monty Hall problem.
That's
Y'all
the
have
problem.
lost me.
Exactly.
It's
We
2
should
and
move
3.
on.
It's not hard. Josh, yes or no?
Wildes,
Josh says yes.
Wildes, we have to move on. You're wrong.
I'm 100% right.
Okay, that's fine.
Am I not right?
That's-
Nervous. Are you concerned about the Mavs' performance?
No, not at all. With the caveat, and it's a real one, that they now have to play an additional game, and it's an additional chance for a guy to turn an ankle, a guy to get hurt. I am not worried at all about the difference between 9 days rest and 7 days rest. That is, to me, that is almost identical, and at some point, maybe you can have, I know you love this, the rest versus rust factor. This is a massive amount of time the Celtics are going to have.
That's almost too much.
That's what I'm saying. So but an extra 48 minutes of basketball is more things where things can happen.
Right.
Here to me is the silver linings of this game. I am glad that Maxi Kleber got back on the court before the finals. I think it's going to be weird for Boston that because they dealt with Indiana so quickly, that Kristaps, it didn't get like a warm-up game. Kleber got a warm-up game, and now he's going to play more. Also, I have been very impressed by Hardy the last couple games in this series and adding real depth to the team. To me, if you're the Mavs, there are 6 guys now that I legitimately trust. In Luka, Kyrie, Derrick Jones Jr., P.J. Washington, Lively, and Gafford. And Lively's going to come back, and I thought Gafford was excellent. You then add Hardy and Green and Kleber coming back. That's a 9-person rotation that doesn't even include Tim Hardaway Jr., who was Luka's second-best player a couple of years ago and now doesn't play. So I don't think Luka and Kyrie are going to shoot 33% in the next game. But if somebody gets dinged, you say, well, that wouldn't have happened had we just swept him and taken care of it at home.
Well, look, somebody did get dinged, and it was Derek Lively. And that's what a lot of people
in
aren't
game
recognizing the importance of him last night or not being there last night.
That's right.
Derek Lively in the first 3 games was plus 22. That's better than any other player in the series.
And hadn't missed a shot because they're all alley-oops.
Right. Had made all his dunks and stuff. But you saw the Timberwolves attack the rim stronger, particularly Karl Anthony Towns, without Lively being there. And I think that was a factor. That got them going. They got to stay that aggressive. We'll see if he's back tomorrow. But, he's got the neck sprain. They said he could barely, move his neck to look sideways. So I think that is a factor, Nick. And, look, as I said, this series is so close that Luka saying we just lack injury looks like an excuse, or we lack energy. Looks like an excuse, but that little thing, like an emotion or not your approach to the game, not coming with the must-win attitude that the Mavericks probably had in the first 3 games, or on the other side, Minnesota being on an emotional high, having a letdown after beating Denver. Yeah. That's all it takes when a series is decided by a couple of points.
Oh, so that part, by the way, I want to make this clear. I totally agree with you there. I don't think the Mavs are drastically better than the Timberwolves. I didn't think that going into the series. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it is in play at all that a team that we were discussing having one of the best offensive backcourts ever, 2 of the best current playoff closers alive in the postseason, that they are going to be, and they are right now fully healthy and actually adding a player, that they are going to be the first team ever to blow a 3-0 lead when the other team
who was the first team to blow a 3-1 lead in the finals?
Well, yeah, but they
Golden State Warriors
that
with
team was
all-time
up
greats.
Against, at worst, the second best player ever at the peak of his powers. What?
Yeah, Michael Jordan is on the.
Okay, well, even if he is, 22-year-old Michael Jordan was not coming back from 3-0. He was getting knocked out in the NCAA tournament.
They're facing, obviously, an uphill climb. I think I'm picking them to win tomorrow night. Yeah. Game 6 is critical. Obviously, Dallas, that's a game that you look at, you would think Dallas is going to win that game. If they don't win that one, then Game 7 and all bets are off.
So listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I mean, you're going to pick the Timberwolves to win every game. That's just what
we'll see. I'm picking them to win tomorrow.
Well, I guarantee if they win tomorrow, you're not going to pick the Mavs to win Game 6.
I can't guarantee. I'm waiting to see. I mean, I picked them last night because I really thought they could win that game.
Yeah.
I didn't think they necessarily, going to win the full series. We'll see how this goes, but I'm picking them to win Game 5, and then it's on.
Given the home court advantage situation, who do you have?
I probably will say, I think that the Mavs will overcome being at a home court disadvantage because they only have.
You think they win Game 5?
No, I think the Wolves win Game 5. And then there is no home court advantage. Then it's just one game.
I don't think you understand what it means. I really don't. I hate that you had to learn this on TV.
How many more games?
I really hate that you had to learn this on TV.
How many games are in Minnesota?
There's 2 games left.
How many more games are in Dallas?
There's one game left.
Okay, coming up next.
Coming up next. Right. I hate to say it, Nick is right.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.